Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special show tonight where we're going to be, I say we, because I'm still waiting on a couple of guests, and we don't know if we'll have more guests, but I'm expecting at least two people here who are not here at the moment. I thought they would be here at the beginning. I don't know if there's a technical problem, but I'll keep my eye open to see. Okay, this is going to be a show for the new Paul McCartney documentary, Man on the Run, which I was really honored to be able to see last evening at the theater. And it's directed by Morgan and Neville. And I did a video on it, and I was overall very, very pleased with the experience. And anybody who watches me knows that I'll let you have it. I'll let them have it if I don't like something. I don't mince words. I try to be, decent about it. I don't try not to hammer them, but no, I really was pretty good with this movie. And I did have some quibbles, some things that I wasn't really keen on, a few little things that really didn't matter in the long run. So I'm just going to be here by myself, I guess, for a while at the beginning. I'm hoping that the guests will be here. I heard one may be late for sure, and the other one, I don't know what has happened. So we'll find out. All right. In the meantime, I'm just going to look at who's here, and I'll start taking some comments, and especially if anybody out there saw Man on the Run and wants to discuss it, you'll be welcome to do that. Okay. Hello, Tony D. Well, that remains to be seen. I have a couple of surprise guests, and I don't want to spoil that. And hello, Elvin. Hi, Mike Walljasper. And hello to Robbie. He's at the Elvis Epic movie. I do want to see the Elvis movie. It looks like I'm going to miss it in IMAX, though. Hopefully see it in the theater later on this month. I think it's the 27th of February, where it's to a wider audience, or it's a wider release, rather, not just one special IMAX night. So I'm sorry to miss it in IMAX, if that's the case. Good evening. Is this Mr. Martinez, perhaps? And hello, Matchstick Man. Okay, you're in for a treat. It's epic. Yeah, I've heard already on some of my comments, I've heard people saying that they've seen the Elvis film, and it's amazing. And they say it blows away even Man on the Run, but we'll see about that. Watching Epic on Sunday at IMAX here in Toronto. I recorded my review of the movie after I got home from the theater, so you did a review as well. Yeah, that's what I did mine. The video that I did, it wasn't really like scripted. You know what I mean? Sometimes I like to get a pad and pen, and I like to kind of write down all the bullet points, things I want to say, try to say them in a certain order. What I did when I talked about the movie, making my video late last night after I came back from seeing it, was I just spouted out how I felt, things that I remembered and recalled I had wanted to say about it, as I thought of it, as I was having it come to mind. All right. So, all right. Let's see, just looking to see. I have to keep my eye on my messages here. Okay, I'm getting a message from my other guest. I have one guest that'll be here in a half an hour, and the other guest is also a little late. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Just hang in with me. I was livid about Paul ignoring why Denny Seiwell and Henry quit the band. Now, I know one thing. Denny did talk about the money being chintzy, that there wasn't enough money. That much I do recall, at least that. So that was in the movie. I also like that Henry McCullough we're talking about here, was able to say that he didn't really, like playing things like Mary Had a Little Lamb and soft stuff like that. He says, I'm a guitarist, after all, that kind of thing. I'm glad they put that in there. I thought that it was really cool that Paul was apparently happy with that, pleased with it, okay to leave it in there. He was all right with it, because that's been his reputation at times that, some of the stuff he did was kind of like twee and granny music and that kind of thing. And they played it up. They played that part up and they didn't try to hide from that. Okay. Now, what do we have here? I may get crucified for this, but man on the run, Paul loves the camera. And his grinning when he had been arrested in Japan for drugs, I was wishing he got 7 years in stir. Well, I noticed that too, and I always noticed that whenever I'd seen, even back in 1980, I was 17 the day that Paul got arrested for pot in January of 80. And I remember this guy's like smiling. What are you smiling about? But there's also that thing too. I don't know whether it's nervous smiling or whether it's just Paul smiling as much to say, "Hey, you know what? You're not going to get me. I'm not going to look all terrified for you. I'm going to just laugh it off. Even though I know by his own admission he didn't think it was too funny, and he was scared of possibly doing 7 years in there or better, in the clink. So I know that he was concerned. It wasn't that he was just who cares, but he just smiled a lot. The famous get away with it. Well, that does happen. I think they had something to do with it. Yeah, you see, these were the kind of things, Tony, that I would have mentioned had I had more time, had I come home, jotted down some notes. I always have, a trusty old pad here that I write notes on. I would have wrote all the little things. Soily was very good. I would have liked to see a little of Junior's Farm. As good as Soily is, you did get to see Paul rock out. And in this particular movie, the way it was set up, as I said earlier, with the soft Paul and all that early on, you wanted to see Paul the rocker. So I'm glad they did Soily. Would have liked to see Junior's Farm, a little of that too. And Junior's Farm is peak Wings goodness, which I, obviously agree with. It might be my favorite Wings single. A great time to be alive, unless you were in Vietnam back then. Okay, you think the film made it clear that Paul got arrested on purpose to get out of the tour and break up the band? I think that's that. I don't think that's true. I don't know. Is that true? Paul, I think later on, this is just my guess. I don't know. Paul tends to people say he rewrites history a little bit, but I think I wouldn't say that he's rewriting history, but I think he says, well, I think maybe I wanted to get arrested. I kind of wanted to end Wings. I don't think somebody would want to do 7 years hard labor or 7 years behind bars just so that Wings could break up. I don't buy that at all. Okay, I was surprised Hi, Hi, Hi and Give Ireland Back to the Irish were omitted. Good point. I love those songs, but Give Ireland Back to the Irish might have been an important thing to include because you would have gotten to actually hear Paul, trying a little political, stint there, doing a little John Lennon there. But then again, it's funny because, Paul says too many people preaching practices. Don't let them tell you what you want to be. And then he sings Give Ireland Back to the Irish. And, these days he's telling everybody to go veggie and have meat-free Mondays just so, just to make it even here, And I hope I don't go into an attack of sneezing, folks, because that happens to me. Allergies, dust, who knows? Sometimes I can sneeze 10 to 15 times, and I really hope it doesn't happen in the middle of the live stream, So, yeah. And what can I say? I mean, the theater that I was in when I saw A Man on the Run last night, the sound wasn't as loud as I wanted it to be. And I don't know if that's the fault of the production of the film or the theater, because a lot of people, more than just a couple, two or three other people, have said that where they were in their theaters, that they also had a problem, that the sound wasn't exactly as up there as it should be. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we. Oh, come on, here we go. Don't sneeze. I'll shut the camera and sound off if I do. Hello, Ramoga. Good evening to you. Do you think the parallels of love between him and Linda are pretty much on the same levels of the love between John and Yoko? The latter, though, being a bit more of a storyline. Yeah, well, I maybe the same levels, but what I've always thought about, and I even called to mind again last night when I was watching the movie, what I've always thought is, when they talk about, how dare Yoko join John on his records and sing, well, Linda's doing the same thing. And of course, as we see in the movie, Linda got a lot of guff for that too. I mean, she wasn't well received either, but it's funny, Paul did the same thing that John was doing, getting involved with Yoko in his way. Not in his way, I'm sorry, that's a bad choice of words that just popped out. Linda wanted to be part of it. He asked her, she said yes. And Yoko also wanted to be part of it. But I like Linda's singing better than Yoko's, but Mike McGear was the real star in this movie. Yeah, Paul's brother Mike, he did get to say some stuff in there. He was pretty good. There's also the funny scene where he was asked on a talk show, Mike McGear was, was Paul really dead and all that, and he thought that was a lot of nonsense. But then, when did you last see Paul recently or something? The last time I saw him was at the funeral. So that was pretty funny. It gave a laugh to the people in the theater. I like the way Sean Lennon defended Paul's reaction to John's death. Hi, Penny Lane. I didn't think it was necessary for him to do that. I mean, it was nice of Sean to do it, but I didn't think it was necessary for the film, the voiceover, Is Joe a McGear fan, the album? I mean, when I first heard it, the first time I didn't care for it, but then I played it again and I did, especially, it's like a Wings album. Now we have our first guest joining us. So I'm going to bring him up here. It's none other than Andy Nicholes. Andy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayo.
Hello, sir.
Hello, buddy.
And how are you this fine evening?
I'm fine. I'm just enjoying all the feedback so far from everybody's attending the theatrical debut last night. A lot of good takes.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? When these special Beatle-related events, screenings, it's as close as we come to the, And if you, of course, got to see Paul multiple times in the last year, starting with the Bowery and.
Actually, it's going back in 10 times in 2025. Yeah.
Wow. 10 times it was, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. I've seen Paul, I think 11 times in my life, so that's pretty impressive. So, you can join in. Let's first say,
yeah,
I know that you and Beatley Tone, of Beatley Tone's Beatles channel, who I'm expecting here, he's the other guest so far. And I know you did a show, the two of you, and I admit, I have yet to look at it. I'm hoping I can talk about some of that stuff here. But so what's your general take? You got to see the movie ahead of everybody.
Yeah. It's a flawed film. I mean, it's not complete. I think a lot of people went into it thinking that it was going to be about Wings, and it is about Wings, and it's not about Wings. They're part of the story. And, the diehards would have loved going through the chronology of Wings as the band really progressed. I mean, none of the singles are talked about. No Live and Let Die. You know, it's so, yeah. And Give Ireland Back to the Irish. I think one of your subscribers said that earlier. No, or Hi, Hi, Hi. So again, it's kind of glossed over. The success of Wings in America is documented really well. And of course, they've got that great clip of Paul strutting with the Rickenbacker with Silly Love Songs is like the high watermark for, Wings in '76. But, I think that the home video footage is the home run for the diehards, because the story we know. But, things like that, the near drowning accident in Hawaii, which was talked about by Sinclair and Cozen from their book, and Morgan Neville chose that story, which was research that Adrian Sinclair found in a Hawaii newspaper. So that was kind of just like a nod to those guys, because their research is what got that scene in the film. So kudos to those guys. So moments like that were cool, but overall the story, was going to be something we were very familiar with.
Yeah, a lot of times people say, "Well, what are you going to learn from this? What are you going to learn?" It's like history is history, and if you're well versed, if you're a Beatles and solo Beatle Paul McCartney nut, and you follow it. No, there's not going to be anything really new for you unless you're more of a casual fan. Now, I'll be honest with you. I didn't recall the incident with Paul almost drowning. To me, that was like, something I didn't recall. So for me, that was like, oh wow, I didn't.
It was in Legacy 2.
Legacy 2, which didn't get to all of that. So what am I waiting for? That's the question. But anyway, hey, so I had a surprise. But
there was a great visual new surprise. If you're not big into books and stuff, there's a great nugget of history right there that you can watch as a moviegoer. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it was good to see Sean, give some input.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have Tom Hanks this time, or Whoopi Goldberg, huh?
Oh God! And that was really a decision by Paul's alone. And I want to give a shout out to Rachel Ulios from Good Kind PR. She forwarded me the production notes today that went out to all the kind of the media people, and some really great history on the film and some of the key people that worked on it in here. And the decision to just not have any talking heads was Paul's.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. I say I don't mind talking heads in documentaries. I think it's helpful and important sometimes for them to tell you their recollections. However, when I say talking heads, to actually see the person, sometimes a little distracting. This was better the way they did this with the voice overs. Well,
in the notes, Morgan Neville talks about when he interviewed Paul 6 times for this documentary. The project started in 2022, and in those 6 interviews, Morgan sensed that Paul is much more at ease when there's not a camera on. When there's a camera on his face, he's going to go into like showman mode, right? But if he's just having a conversation on a couch with a tape recorder going, or a voice memo thing going, he's going to be more honest and open. And that's what Morgan wanted to achieve. And that's why you get some of these candid quotes and these moments in the doc, which Paul Muldoon did for the lyrics book too. Those interviews, again, that was all audio only. So there's a real truth to that, because once the camera's on, you have to, especially somebody like Paul McCartney, he's gonna go into, this kind of mode.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Good point. I mean, I never really gave that much thought, but I'll tell you, in the movie, there are a lot of things that Paul was forthcoming with, like, for example, talking about his drinking, just coming out and saying how he drank too much in those early days, which you knew that, but to hear Paul just blatantly say it, I mean, I was kind of like surprised when he talked about that in the song "Happy with You." Even he mentioned that in that song.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear Paul be more like that,
Right. Some very, very little, there was a couple things recycled from Wingspan, audio wise, and you can tell he's, it's 20 years younger, especially about Japan. the maybe I wanted to get busted. That was a recycled quote from Wingspan. But
Well, somebody was asking about that, and I really wonder if sometimes Paul puts it like that after the fact. Subconsciously I wanted to get busted. I don't think he wanted to do whatever it was 7 years time. Later on he'll say, "Oh, well, maybe I wanted it," as if it was not so bad. It wasn't so bad or something. It's okay. It's okay. I probably didn't want it really, but I get what he's trying to say. And one of the things that I was disappointed in is I said in my video, how the albums like Wings London Town and also Back to the Egg were really pretty glossed over. I thought, well, so was Red Rose Speedway, really.
Yeah, Back to the Egg, out of all the albums, really gets the most airtime because they talk about it as a flop, and that gets more screen time than London Town or Wildlife or Red Rose Speedway. Not much. It's not much, but it's it's talked about as a failure, and then that's where Juba and Holly their parts come into it. So I reckon that gets more screen time than just about any other Wings album when you think about it.
And how much more time is there of this 4 hours?
So apparently there's two stories floating out there right now. Morgan's original cut was 2.5 hours, but maybe at some point Scott Roger at that screening in New Orleans last week said that it was a 4-hour cut, but maybe he saw a cut like a long time ago, maybe like a year ago or something, and that was the 4-hour cut. So that's why there's two kind of running lengths out there. But I think what everybody kind of really thinks is that the director's cut that Morgan Neville is referring to is the one that's 2.5 hours. So we're looking at another half hour's worth of footage that's out there from, the finished one that was cut, which makes sense.
And you can't put everything in, but I was thinking, it would be nice if they put in the Guinness Book of Records award when he got that, a little bit of that, 79.
79.
And, but yeah, like I said, they did it. I think overall he did a great job. Morgan Neville did.
Fantastic job. I mean, and somebody posted this on Facebook today. And think about this for a minute. Somebody who attended the premiere in Piccadilly in London on Wednesday night where Paul was at. There was a lot of celebs there and stuff, and it was invite only. But think about this. If you were in that cinema, Paul's watching himself on screen throughout this whole documentary, and then it gets to the part when John dies, and Paul, the person was watching Paul's body language, and he was, think about being in that moment. Can you imagine being in that theater, watching that moment in the same room as Paul McCartney when that part of the film comes up? Think about that. That is what a special moment that was for those people that got to go to that were invited to go to that.
Pretty heavy. That
yes.
What did you think of the volume? Sometimes I thought I was expecting a little more the music to be louder or something.
I thought the volume was okay. I'd love the stop motion graphics throughout the whole thing with the pictures and making the pictures move and stuff like that. That was a great artistic decision, I thought.
And a good use of home movie footage. A lot of good home movie footage. Was there anything in there that you saw that was new to you? I mean, there was some of that. Paul looking out the window at one point with the beard in the early days. I saw, I've seen some of that, like him on the, whatever you want to call it, should I say farm? Him on the farm when he was being spotted. I've seen that.
Yeah, that there's been some pictures of that, but that was, he goes, you better leave now. There's going to be some trouble. I mean, that was really, some of that stuff was cool. He answers the phone, right? Somebody calls for Linda. He's in the middle of playing. He answers the phone and says, she's not here right now. That's so. No, there was plenty of unknown stuff, rare stuff in this documentary that was awesome. And again, for me, the crown jewel, the whole thing, Morse Moose and the Gray Goose.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I'll pass on the comment on that. But I mean, look, I'm glad it's in there because of the rarity of it. Mm-hmm. It's not a favorite of mine, but for me, it's 10 times better than Wingspan.
Oh God, yeah. But you know what? See, the problem is you're watching that they show that clip when they're talking about Back to the Egg. So it's the timeline is a little bit, skewed here. Oh, Ted made a good comment. I love, about that October 1980 footage. That's what you and I were texting about earlier this morning. And that was an interview that John did with Robert Hilburn. And that it was around for the crappiest quality forever, but they really cleaned it up. What a great quote. Good to see you.
That was a highlight moment for me, being
Yes.
a big John guy, and loving that little bit of precious footage of John in the studio in October 80. But to have a clip of that, and like you said, cleaned up, denoised.
No Star Wars sound effects.
No Star Wars sound effects. Although in some of it, you hear some of his dialogue in the original raw clip, and they're not mixing it in that moment.
Yeah.
Comes in and out. But anyway, be that as it may, if they could get the whole thing like that, I don't know how long it runs, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes with John, that little clip, the raw footage, that would be really wonderful. But to have that in there and also get to hear him call Paul, his brother
since age 15, that was,
2 months before we lost John, that's priceless,
Priceless footage. Priceless.
So I'm going to just zip back up here. It was with Mark Lapidus, was with Uncle Paul. Was pleasantly surprised at the fast Beatles.
Yes, Beatles Fest got a little quick shout out in there. So congrats to those guys.
It's like I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I hope they include this. Like I was hoping they would include. I wanted to have the clip in there from '73 where John concedes that Paul was right about
Paul was right. Yeah.
So I liked that was in there. And just a little bit, I kept saying, they got to that. They did it. They got that. They covered that. I want certain things I wanted. And I was saying, I wonder if they're going to put the Saturday Night Live bit in there. That would be so cool.
Oh, yeah.
And they did put the Saturday Night Live thing in there.
Yeah. It's the first 30 minutes is all about the Beatles and the McCartney albums. That's a good chunk of the film right there.
Okay, Andrew Dixon made a review and audio at his theater. Was not great as well.
And again, I haven't seen it in the cinemas yet because I
thought you had seen it.
No, I'm going on Sunday in the city to see it.
All right, I knew you were doing that, but I thought maybe it was the second time.
No. Life got in the way last night, so I couldn't. So, but I was reading reactions to seeing it. Where you saw it? What time did you see it last night, Joe?
I saw a 7:30 p.m. show.
Mm-hmm.
Last night. The bit where him and Paul and John were fighting, and apparently John then takes off his glasses and says, "It's only me," made me nearly tear up. Yeah, that's a story we've heard before, but still, it was represented very nicely in the movie. Half the Wings albums were ignored
because it's a story about Paul, Tony. And now it's Paul and it's Wings. Now we know that there's just going to be this Wings exhibit at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in May. So maybe that's a push now that they're probably going to get inducted now. So it kind of does. I could see why people would be frustrated that if we're going to be inducting Wings and it's all about Wings, well, why is this movie not even really talking about Wings in detail? But it's a biography.
There you go.
Yes.
No, they did talk about it, right? Not the seriousness of when he had a heart thing, didn't he?
Yeah, they talked about that.
Because they didn't. Yeah, he did cover it, but not at the extent of it. But
no.
Maybe I'm amazed. Look, every time people ask me with certain artists, lesser artists even than Paul, who have lesser material, they ask me, what do you think their greatest song is? I have a hard time doing it. But with Paul and with all the great stuff he has, I still narrow it down to Maybe I'm Amazed. If I had to pick one song, I might pick Maybe I'm Amazed. I might also pick Let It Be. And I may pick, I don't know, For No One, Here, There, and Everywhere, Eleanor Rigby, stuff like that. Hey Jude. But Maybe I'm Amazed. I always like that because it's Paul, as I say, being a little more vulnerable, a little bit more unsure, talking about himself. I was surprised, and you didn't see it in the theater, Andy, but have you seen the talk?
Yeah, I saw the talk. It leaked on YouTube already. I saw a video of the talk, yeah.
And Paul was like not sure really, it sounded like now when he's talking about what Maybe I'm Amazed really was. I mean, I thought it's pretty clear.
Well, he
said, I just read him wrong.
The lyrics weren't very literal. She didn't hang me out on a line. He said.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. But it's like, I think maybe that's what I was doing.
I have a question for you, Joe. So now that you saw the film and we already knew about the soundtrack album, which got announced. It was a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And you know you saw the songs that are going to be on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Now you've seen the film. Now, are there songs that you heard on the film that you wish were on the soundtrack?
Oh yeah, well there are other songs. I can't now remember what the soundtrack listing is, but I remember I thought it was underwhelming and too short, and that hasn't changed after seeing it. But I'm trying to think like, well, Soiley's you already have that on One Hand Clapping.
Yeah, but how about like even that overdub mix of Long Haired Lady, which is
yeah. I don't think the soundtrack album. It's nice to have, but I don't think just as a general listening experience, it's that fantastic. But well, it remains to be heard.
Yeah. Well, if they're getting 3 new songs on it, that's about it. The Other Me. Dustbin Lid, indeed.
Yeah. I love the melody of that. The tune of that song. I felt sorry for Denny Lane, who was very loyal, but when Paul made the gigs dry up, it sort of left Denny in the dark. I thought he was well represented in the movie, Denny.
Yes.
Considering it's about Paul, really, he's and the Mulligan Tire bit, his working on it, having a co-write, Hello, George.
Hello.
Okay, 50 Thunderer says, I got my 12-year-old and her 10-year-old friend here for a sleepover. I need a break. I need this talk about Wings and the Beatles. Help, I need somebody. Which Paul has every right to sing, by the way.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. See, things change, huh? We got our second guest here.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready there, sir? Okay, I don't like to just put them on the spot unless they're ready, I see him back there. Okay, here we go. It's none other than Beatley Tone.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. I just totally lost track of time. We've been to see a band, and I had no idea it was so late.
Boy. You didn't even get your coat off yet.
When we was half an hour away.
He didn't even get his jacket off yet. He just ran
I haven't got my jacket off yet.
Oh, you want to take time to take it off? Are you all right? Take it off. Give me some
strip. Do like Paul does at a concert. Take the jacket off and then show it up to the audience. And do like Jacket does at the gig.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's a nice shirt. I like it.
That's a good one.
Thank you. How you doing?
And I like the man on the run shirt also.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you doing, boys?
We're good, Tone. We're good. We're getting ready for some more snow here in the Northeast this weekend.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Take a look at the weather forecast.
No, I look. I'm not going to even get into that because I'll say it briefly. I shoveled the snow. There wasn't even that much of it at the end of January, almost a month ago. And let's just say I had a hip issue. I didn't feel anything till the next day, and the hip issue it lasted 3 weeks. So I don't get it. I guess it's part of getting older.
Yeah, I've had a hip.
All right. Let me just see here. The audio was terrible in mine as well. What did you think of the audio, Tone? I didn't watch your video yet.
Well, it wasn't in spatial audio in our cinema. It was it was in stereo, but I mean you could hear it okay, but I was expecting it to be coming all around, but it wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It would.
But I didn't know whether that was just the capabilities of the cinema or whether they just hadn't done that mix for it. But someone said they saw it in Manchester or Glasgow or someone on my comments, and they said it was in Dolby Atmos. So it must have been the cinema. So when we watch it on Amazon Prime, if you've got the right gear, then you'll be able to hear it in spatial audio.
Oh, okay. I like the Band on the Run cover segment personally. I'm glad they showed that. No need for that, Serge thinks, and too much gotta sing, gotta dance. There wasn't too much of it, But see, that's what I like, that they did that. The audience was chuckling a little bit in my theater. And again, you show that side of Paul. He appreciates the that kind of stuff. The old, I don't know what you call it, tunes,
musical, man.
musical, yeah.
Well,
And,
apparently at the London premiere that he was at, when that scene came up, he put his hands in his face when "Gotta Sing, Gotta Dance" came on.
and I saw one clip with him. I think he was speaking with the director, and he said, "Also, thanks for putting some things in there that I didn't want in there, or something to that effect that I didn't." I was embarrassed by, or something like that. No, but that's great. That I love that about it. And that you get some of that.
Yeah.
Paul's great, the greatest of all. However, you get to see, he had some trouble after the Beatles, and he wasn't together, and and at first he did some things that were at the time considered a little questionable. They got through all that, and they covered it. They didn't hide from that. They didn't try to bend it.
No.
Including dancing James Paul McCartney special and all that.
Did you see that post on Facebook? Kim's just read it out to me, and she said the bloke who posted it. He was at the private showing, and he was sitting in the front row of the circle. And when the screen was very bright, he could see Paul really clearly, like below him. And he said that he was singing and clapping along to "How Do You Sleep."
Yes.
Oh,
Do you see that?
He was toe tapping to "How Do You Sleep." Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they would have left in just to show you. And this is a Lennon fan here, just to show you nothing against Paul, but to show you how cruel John was with the song. I wish they would have said, I'm not going to say the C word. How do you sleep? I know.
I noticed it was that line that they showed, and they cut it out.
Yep.
And again, I can't emphasize enough. Nothing to not to shoot anything at Paul, but to show you that John was like really overboard with it. Oh, and the "Live and Let Die" thing. Yeah, I was surprised that there was no "Live and Let Die" mentioned that he did the James Bond soundtrack. Although later on you hear "Live and Let Die," but there was no.
Maybe Morgan felt that story is so well told it didn't need to be in the film.
Hi, Marcus. I heard commentary from people saying that they feel like George got shortchanged in the doc. Would you agree, or would it have been a bit too forced? I didn't think it was a problem.
Well.
He wasn't mentioned, was he?
Not really, no.
But it's really it's really a John and Paul thing, really. I know that sounds terrible, but you know how I mean. Is for the sake of the film, it's like the love between John and Paul and the Bond and the Lennon McCartney thing. I can understand that. They didn't have to. I don't know if there had to be that much, George. Nothing against George, Yeah.
Yes. According to his manager, yes.
Well, it's pretty official, right? It just is there a date yet?
No.
Paul is supposedly working on the cover.
Well, that's why there's been a delay, because Paul's taking his time with the cover.
It's going to be a pretty amazing cover.
I'm still sticking with June. June, I reckon.
I'd rather have a summer album this time, rather than like the end of the year. I'd rather have something, not just because it's quicker, but I just would like it better in June or May or June or something. Or
we don't have to wait the whole year now for another album. We can have something halfway through the year. John Colgrave. Okay, that's Mrs. Beatley tone. All right.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was surprised to hear Paul say that what performance he felt was his all-time worst, or his most, what term did he use? His not his worst.
His worst night ever or something like that.
Yeah.
I was there.
Tony was at that show.
You were there.
I was at that show, and there was nothing wrong with his bass.
Yeah. I got to tell you, though, he would think Live Aid was more of a disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been a lot worse.
But the thing was that he didn't know. He didn't know at Live Aid that no.
Oh yeah, he didn't realize it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was only when everyone cheered when his mic came on. He's like looking around thinking, "What's everyone cheering for?"
Yeah. There you go. I love how Paul and Linda and her family was having nothing to do with Alan Klein. I mean, you got to give Paul credit for that. I mean, we do, but I mean, he really like nailed it with Klein, man.
Dear
in the
Pig.
bands.
Dear Pig.
Dear Pig.
Yeah. Yeah. And they showed you a little bit of that too, right? That Paul occasionally could be, throw a zinger out there. Like he's not always sweet all the time. He showed a little of that when the need calls for it.
Mm.
I'm going to see the film.
I got a big laugh in the cinema that I saw it in, the Dear Pig thing.
Yeah, same here.
Mm.
I'm going to see the film on Sunday with my dad. Is it a recommendation all around? I definitely.
100%.
Thumbs aloft.
Yes, real thumbs up. Mac a thumbs up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it depends. I don't know how heavy into it you are, but I think it's a great film to watch for diehards and even not so diehards. I think it's entertaining.
Again, the home video footage in there is what we like.
I love the bit at the end where Paul's trying on the jacket. What was it, 1972?
72, yeah.
Tour, whatever shows. You got to get the words right. Is it a tour? Concert, whatever, performance. And he's trying to put the old jacket on, That was nice.
Yeah.
There you go. The audio was great, Joe Mantaneo. Hello. The audio was great in yours. There you go. I'd like to hear that. Audio was great in mine, but coming back from Epic, yeah, Jesus, Elvis is like a space jet taking off compared. Yeah, I want to see that movie, Epic, Elvis Presley in concert. Now, I think it was today. Or is it tomorrow? It's today. Jesus, tomorrow. Or is it today? Lost.
Tomorrow is today.
Anyway, and I did, and I didn't see it. There's no excuse really, but I had nobody to go with. I've gone to theaters by myself, Lord knows, in my life, but I would have liked to go with somebody hanging out. Man on the Run got me in the mood to watch and listen to One Hand Clapping again. That's always a good thing when something inspires you. There you go. Favorite Beatle. How much are Beatles autographs fetching for these days? Not really looking at selling because Paul wrote my mother's name amongst their own. It's a personal artifact. Just interested in it.
Oh, dear.
You mean Paul by himself? I don't know. I'm guessing like 500 and up is what I'm guessing. If I know what I'm talking about. Used to be, I think.
I know that they're worth more if you've got all four on one piece of paper.
I don't know what we're talking about there. I'm lost. It was a love story between Paul and Linda and a brotherhood between Paul and John. Yeah, that came across. Whether it was intended or not, it came across to me. Would have been good to see a bit of Ringo and George in the film after the Beatles and their interactions with Paul. There was a little Ringo bit in there.
Ringo, yeah, it was Ringo.
Did you notice at the end of the film, Tony? We didn't talk about this in our review.
Your mic's a little bit low, Andy.
How about now? Better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
All right. Did you notice at the end of the film, what shirt was he wearing? Did you notice that? At
the end of the film?
Yeah, it cut to some home video footage of them like around the 1990s, right? In their garden or whatever, Paul and Linda, and he's wearing a certain shirt.
Was it the Press to Play shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
He was wearing the press shirt with all the controls and all the knobs and everything on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they also had a little bit, which I thought they kind of went through pretty quickly, of when the signing the papers to dissolve the Beatles. It was really, really quick. It would have been nice to have a little more, maybe even the George bit. That's how you could have had George in the film a little bit.
Well, when they were signing the
bit of dialogue, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and George is so eager to sign it. It's like,
let the Lord make this final.
Yeah. And I love the Elton John bit. I got to tell you, I love that.
Well,
the audio.
Well, he talked. That's in one of the tour books, the Elton John praising "Dear Boy." I think it's in the World Tour book from the Flowers tour, where he talks about loving the harmonies on "Dear Boy." But I don't think there's any audio of Elton talking about that. But there was audio of Elton talking about all the albums, the recent Beatle albums in the film.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not here to knock Paul because I'm here to celebrate Paul, and I loved it, the movie, and it did him justice. But I like the bit with Elton's voiceover where they show you the albums, and in the beginning, again, you know, at the end, Paul had a difficult time coming out of it. You had All Things Must Pass. They show you Imagine album, and even Ringo's Bukus of Blues. You know, country. Something people find interesting, and then where they show you Wildlife, and Elton John was like, I don't forget what his quote was, but he was dissing it or something. I thought it was Elton John's quote there.
It was. Oh, no, I think he was talking about listening to Linda, I think.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. I don't hear Linda when I'm listening to Paul album.
Yeah, people can say, why isn't this bit in it and why isn't that bit in it? But you got to remember, you know, lots of things happened, but they weren't always filmed. You know,
that's that too.
They might not have footage of things that happened.
Okay, Kurt Cobain would have turned 59 today. Raised a few glasses this evening. Cheers. Okay, I'll say it again because Andy and Tone missed it, but McCartney should have got the obligatory 7 years in Japan, but that would have been that. Now that would have been a story. Well, somebody said because you know celebrities, you know they get some perks, you know. But hey, look, I'm glad he didn't get the time. You know, come on, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Paul's autograph by far over 2,000 and up. I guess when I remember 500, I'm talking about maybe. Wow. I guess it's 30 years now. What I'm talking about. Oh, well, not only, of course, I'd watch it again because I would like to own it one day on physical media, I hope, or if it doesn't come out, somebody out there is going to make one. So put it out.
This is, you know,
I'm going to watch it again on the 27th.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it on Prime. If I don't even think I'm going to go back to the theater, honestly. I mean, I liked it a lot, but I'm happy waiting to whenever I get a physical copy to see it again. Okay. Stumbled upon all your guys' channels a few months back. Big fan from Long Island, New York. Long Island, New York. Where is that exactly?
You left me a message, I think, this week when you said LI, and I thought that was you know, the initials for a state, and I had to Google what state is LI, and then it told me that it was Long Island.
It's an
abbreviation for Long Island. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, there was something in it I didn't like. Andy and I talked about this a little bit. All right.
Here we go. Let's go, Joe.
I wasn't going to do this. I'm going to handle it well, you know. Here's what I'm going to say. And I don't know Tony's take on it because I haven't heard him yet with this. There's been a myth, and I call it a myth, going on a while now, that because John really did it very much, and maybe I don't know if it's very much, but he liked coming up, and he you know, there's that little clip of him, the little interview again. And who's the interviewer in that 1980 thing with John?
Robert Hilburn.
I'll never remember that. Robert Hilburn. And at one point, John talks about the Coming Up record that Paul had out that year, 1980. This is October 1980, and I guess he might have heard it in May or June even, who knows. And he says he liked Coming Up, and I like that this is not in the film. This part's not in the film, but in this interview, the Raw interview, John says, and I like the freak version that he made in his barn, as John calls it, better than the live one. And I think the record company had a hell of a nerve turning it around on him. You know, that was the one that became the hit single in the U.S. Okay, so he says that.
Sorry, I didn't know this. What did he say? He didn't like the live version being put out as a single
in the U.S.
John liked the studio version of Coming Up.
Okay,
yeah, he liked the freak. They called it the freak version. But this interview that's short but sweet, but so much noise in it. And in the film, they use a little line in it, not the one I'm talking about, the line I'm talking about, but they use a little line of it and they cleaned up the sound. I hope they do that for the whole interview. But so John said that he liked coming up, and we know the story also of being with Fred Seaman. According to Fred Seaman's book, I'm not a Fred Seaman fan. I take it with a grain of salt. If it happened, it happened. We know John liked coming up because he said it himself. And I'm not going to go into the detail. We know the story of what happened. He was driving along and he heard Paul on the radio.
F a pig. It's Paul.
He said, "Fuck a pig. It's Paul." And he was all excited because he probably was impressed by Paul daring and making his voice on the coming up single sounding weird and stuff like that. So he liked it. But there's been this, I call it a myth going on now. I went to the Beatle Fest several years ago now, before I started doing any panels. And there were a couple of guys on a panel making a whole discussion about how Coming Up was the song that made John record Double Fantasy. And that's just bull. Because if you go by John himself, that is, while he did like it, and in that interview that I was talking about from 1980, he goes on to say, the interviewer asked him, "You ever surprised about anything Paul does?" And he says, "No, can you be surprised by your brother who you knew since you're 15? Which that's the line, the beautiful line that's in Man on the Run. But then he goes on to say, in the raw footage, he goes, "But sometimes I'll think like, he said, then as they get to talking a little bit more, I don't know if it was exactly referring to Coming Up, but John goes on to say, in general, he goes, a good record is a record that makes you want to make a record." He says, I'll make one like that. Shit, I'd go right out and make it,
Yeah, I'd love to I'd make one like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and something like that. And he says that. It's a beautiful, candid discussion. But that's not like he's talking directly like, Paul's got coming up. That's it. I'm in the studio now. I'm going. That's it. My mind's made up. Thank you, Paul. That's not what happened. But everybody's starting to make it like that's the what gave him is the word impetus.
It doesn't mean it's not true just because he didn't say it out loud, though. He might have thought it. He still might have thought it. If he liked the record, he might have, in his mind, he might have thought it's about time now. But if that's not true, it's a shame. It's a shame because there's an irony here, isn't there? Because if you remember at the beginning of the film, there was a quote put up on the screen. I think he was talking about McCartney, and John Lennon's quote was that Paul will make a good record when he gets scared into it.
When he's frightened into it.
Yeah, frightened into it. And if that story about Coming Up was true, there would be a nice little bit of full circleness about that, that thing. But, John is now getting to make a good record because, he's been scared into it. But if it's not true, it's not true.
I'm going to go. There's more to say about it, though. I'm sorry. I'll try not to make this part too long, but it's important, so I want to get it all out. John always said that he was in a club and he heard the B-52s Rock Lobster.
Yeah.
And he heard them making the Yoko sounds.
Yeah. Oh, mother, they're ready for us.
And they're ready for us this time. And that gave him the real jolt. But plus, he was listening to Pretenders, he said, and Blondie. It was a whole bunch of
madness.
And he also said in the press, if you remember, at one point, he's retired as a musician until his son turns 5. Whether that was etched in stone, I don't know. But he was already thinking he said he might come out when Sean's 5. And he was about that.
We have to look at the history and the timeline because we know that Coming Up came out in May of 1980. And whenever
it's hard to dispute John's words.
I'm just saying. May was when Coming Up came out. Now, when did he go to Bermuda? I'm just saying, Coming Up probably definitely inspired a little bit of John to go back.
Yeah,
not the whole thing, not the whole reason to go back into recording, but it didn't hurt him. Did not kind of give him any impetus to not go back into the studio. He heard it and said, "Oh, that's a good song."
Yeah. I'm not. Lastly, I'll say I'm not trying to say that it had no effect on him. It did, and it probably was part of the stew. You cut up carrots and onions and beef,
and you
put it in the stew. That's part of it.
And you put it all on you.
But people, including Paul, evidently, from the way it sounded to me in the movie, thinks that oh, he heard my record and it was like, I'm going to record again. Well, no, that's not the way. That's my way I read it, according to John. But anyhow, I lost my train of thought there. This oh shit. I'm reading comments at the same time, and this happens to me. If I think of it, I'll say it. But yeah, that was the only thing in there that I wasn't too wild about. And other than the fact that I felt that, again, Paul, like, yeah, I think maybe when I did Back to the Egg and all that kind of stuff, maybe I was thinking I'm paraphrasing. I was ready to move on. I was done with this. And anyway, I think had it been really successful, Back to the Egg, maybe he would have sang another tune. Like, I really think he tends to go by what the critics say and what the reputation of the album is for him to decide how he feels about it later on. What do you think, guys? No comment?
I don't know.
Now he conveniently says that, but,
People can interpret it whatever they want to, however they want to interpret it. I mean, I do like Tony's point, though. I mean, there's Paul putting John's quote, right, about being scared or frightened into making a good album in his own official film. And I think that's a pretty cool move on his part to say, you know what, I know John's, taking the mickey out of me here, but I'm going to put it in my film anyway. Because he's 83 now. He's like, what do I have to lose anymore?
Do you think that Paul had input into what went into it? Because listening to the Morgan Neville interview on Sirius FM that you sent me,
yeah,
it sounded like the director went away and made the film,
yes,
and said, "Here, Paul, this is the film. What do you want to keep? What do you want to take out?"
That's exactly what happened.
The decision to put that in was Morgan Neville's idea, and Paul just okayed it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, everything in that interview that we listened to, he states that. And if you look at the production notes that we got today, he was basically, they opened up the archives and they said, you and your team can have at it. And Morgan Neville worked, and his production team coordinated with MPL staff to kind of let them in and go through Paul's archive. So it was very much you go ahead and make it and show it to me when it's done, and I'll give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, to your point, Tony. So yes.
Well, that's even because it means that Paul allowed some of that stuff in there that he kind of said, "Oh, I was a little embarrassed by it," but he allowed it in there because he didn't give a thumbs down.
Exactly, and that's just it. So now, Tony, if you have a quick read of that, if you have a read of that stuff,
I haven't had a chance.
A lot of production detail in there.
Did it arrive this evening?
Yeah,
because I've been out all night. So
yeah,
I remember the other thing I was going to say, backtracking. I would have said it before instead of bringing it up again. But Paul is also known to get things a little mixed up. The whole thing about we said we're not going to America until we have a number one there, and he also says very, very often on stage that they wrote the Rolling Stones' first number one song, "I Want to Be Your Man," and that's not the way it was. So he often gets things a little bit. Also, I'm wondering about the bit in there. Let's talk about how do you sleep? And he said that Alan Klein gave the line to John about yesterday, and I've always interpreted it by John talking about it, saying that John had the first part. The only thing you done was yesterday. And then he said, and I was thinking, what was it? And he says, and Klein gave me another day. He said, because that was a single he had out at the time. So to me, I think Paul started it with the yesterday bit. And he couldn't come up with the line, and Klein came up with another day, which I thought, look, give the guy credit where it's due. That was pretty clever, that particular line, I think.
I mean, in my video, I credited the yesterday thing to Klein. I wasn't aware that it was different. It was John and then Klein for those two lines. I thought it was all Klein.
Yeah, I only say that because over the years, I've heard a lot of Lennon interviews, and I forget which one it was where he says that, and he goes, Klein gave me another day. He said, I was thinking, what is it? And he said, another day, because that was some kind of single he had out at the time.
Quick, somebody check McCartney Legacy Volume 1. It's bound to be in there.
All right. Got to read that. Got to read those again now.
By the way, I forgot to mention this too. My theater was sold out too. It was a small theater, but it was sold out.
Yeah, there's a few spare seats in mine, which also, well, sort of medium size, I suppose. Yeah, I think he did. I think he told them that they weren't required for Tug of War.
Yeah.
All 4 Beatles autographs with one of George's broken guitar strings sold for £7,000 this month. 7? Was that 7,000? Yeah, Sean Lennon made it clear that his dad had all of Paul's albums. Now, even though John's brutally honest at times, he's not being 100% honest. He says sometimes that he didn't listen to Paul that often and all this kind of stuff. I don't believe John when he says that.
Oh,
and
they were all listening to each other.
I'm sorry, Tori.
Yeah, but they definitely all listening to each other.
Yeah, and he has a line again in that 1980 interview where he said, I think it's that interview where he says, I don't know, the last one I heard was the one when he had a
rose in his mouth, which is false because we know that he loved Band on the Run.
Yeah, I know he heard back to according to the Fred Seaman book, he heard Paul's new album Back to the Egg in 1979. So who the hell knows? Well, I'm trying to be fair here, you know.
According to Fred, he didn't like McCartney 2 that much either, but loved Coming Up. So there you go.
Yeah. John hearing B-52s in Bermuda made John come back to recording Well, that's what he said. That was the last straw, or whatever you want to call it, the real thing.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have known why he chose them certain celebrities to appear on Band on the Run cover. I'm glad as long as Christopher Lee is there. I love it because I love horror films. Mother, they're doing you, John said to Yoko after hearing the B-52s.
Yeah.
Bob Marley inspired him to write the song "Borrowed Time."
Yep.
Although he'd been into reggae for quite a long time. He dabbled with reggae.
Yeah.
They were into that even in the 60s when they called it Blue Beat.
Yeah.
With even like parts of Beatles songs have that kind of reggae and ska changes in them and things like that.
Oh Bloody is a sort of a West Indian calypso sort of beat.
Yeah. I didn't even think of this. That's true that if they could have used them, if Morgan could have used them, that would to show the reunion of Paul and John and Ellie would have been nice.
Even in How Do You Sleep, the da 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 da. If you listen to the drum part playing over that, that's a reggae beat.
Yeah, good point, Tom.
I've heard John say, and I don't know music that well, technically, but I heard John say in interviews that in 1973 he was trying to teach musicians what reggae was. I think he was referring to Tight As. I don't know if that's really a reggae thing or not, but that's what I think he was referring to in that interview. Sadly, all 4 Beatles cared so much about what critics thought of their work. I mean, I agree with Joe. McCartney seems to think whatever the reaction fans, critics is true. Well, remember that great story about Wildlife when he was going up.
Oh yeah,
I was up to the country, and
I'm going up the country, man, and I'm taking this with me.
And it really impressed Paul because he said that was just one guy's opinion. And, I think he does get influenced, like, shouldn't have done Back to the, press to play, whatever. He does listen, I think, a lot. But he didn't do that with Ram. He seemed to believe in Ram. Can I get some information on your channel, please? Are you already subscribed to me? Yeah, go ahead. We would cover this later, but go ahead.
Sure. Thanks, 50 Thunderer. You could just find me at The Backwards Traveler on YouTube and also Two Legs and Hands Across the Water. But I'll put it in the link here in the chat. But that's the link to my own channel, The Backwards Traveler, where I do mainly Paul and Beatles and occasionally forays into other genres of music. But all my links are right there. Thank you.
For example, McCartney wasn't big on Ram until its reappraisal in recent years. Now he says it's good. I always got the feeling that he believed in it more then, but
Yeah.
Adrian Sinclair was the archive consultant.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, it's 2026, and Paul's still looking for John's approval in a way. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's how I would word it, but if you mean in like, it still seems like he always wanted that partner back with writing and telling him what to toss out or keep, or maybe like that, whether it's Elvis Costello or whoever. All right. Great question on our local radio station the other day to win tickets to see Man on the Run. What is Paul McCartney's first name? That's easy. The panel of entrants were puzzled and totally stumped.
I have a bonus trivia question for your audience there, Joe.
Oh, okay.
What was Paul McCartney thinking of changing his name to when the Beatles started?
This I don't think I know.
Paul Ramon, was it?
Well, that was Ted got it.
Well, it's all the way on the bottom. I can't get.
I know. No.
Paul James.
Paul James.
Okay. How about James Paul? All right, let's go. I'm going up again now. Yeah, Klein Screwed, Sam Cooke, and the Stones. And what's that line that John said? But he's
our bastard.
he's
he's a bastard, but he's our bastard.
Yeah. This I think has come to be not true. I think it's another myth. That's not true. That he was in this. I forget where the sources come over the years.
I've read that he said no. That's too far.
That's not true, though. I mean, I don't believe it's true. I've heard in other places where, just like the thing about what is it that John Lennon supposedly said, Ringo isn't even the greatest drummer in the Beatles.
Yeah, but we know that's not true. But
but I've heard somewhere that this was proven. Where I'll be honest, I can't tell you. This was also proven. That Ringo's in the studio. And he's like, that's enough, John. That's too much. Come on.
Well, there's only 5 or 6 people that can corroborate.
It might have been one of them.
Story's true or not, and that is the musicians that played on the Imagine album.
But all I'm telling you is one of them must have said it. I'm sorry, I can't remember who, but I wondered about this for the longest time. And then somebody said that I don't know who, so it's still up in the air. We'll agree to disagree on that one. I'd like to see the proof of that. Elliot again. You have to announce yourself every. Hey guys, it's Elliot every single time. Change the damn name to Elliot.
Yeah.
Change it. Elliot. You want to keep Appleman? Do it Elliot Appleman.
Oh, lordy.
I saw Man on the Run at the Village East Cinema last night. The night before I saw the new epic Elvis movie. Amazing. Yeah, I don't go into the city too much anymore. I really don't want to. Looking forward to see it on Amazon. Sounds amazing. Just announced Traveling Wilburys signed to Dark Horse Records. Oh, come on. Let me know everybody that's on Dark Horse Records. Paul cared a lot about, Andy's thinking, hey, look, this is how I roll, man. That's why John's my guy. Coming right out. Zing. Paul cared a lot about John's opinion. And John followed Paul's solo career. Despite all the actions, they loved and respected each other, damn straight. They had 2 of the 4 best seats in Beatlemania. Closest scheduled showing near me is 2 hours away.
Oh, well, you only got a week to wait now. So
spell check. Yeah, there you go. I always thought of Tight as a rockabilly type song.
Yeah.
Okay. John thought different, I guess. Wasn't Linda quote in saying Paul said he didn't think he could get the same quality musicians for the last Wings lineup? Well, anyway, yeah, I think Juba and Holly are great, But
he could have got anyone he wanted, really. If that I don't think he could be bothered because he basically took 2 people that Denny Lane recommended, and they were unknown. They obviously went and did an audition and did well, but you know, he could have had anyone in the band if he wanted to, but I don't think he could be bothered to go through that whole rigmarole of auditioning and all that sort of stuff again.
I'm a younger Paul fan, 24 years old, so happy I stumbled upon all his post-Beatles work about 1.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Good.
Enjoy the ride.
I know. I almost feel jealous that you've got all this to come.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride. Do it for John and George, and if you want, Ringo too, although I encourage all of them. But
Yes, it is. And it's still apparently in the same state it was in 1969, according to Morgan's team who went up there. Even like the bunk beds are still there, and Linda's got her stuff scribbled on the cabinet doors in the kitchen still to this day.
Yeah, some of that footage of the High Farm is current, isn't it?
At the end.
The film. Yeah.
Yes.
It looked much sharper, didn't it? The pictures of it.
Yeah, I just love how he hasn't changed anything. He's left it as is, which I think is so cool.
I wonder how often he goes up there. Probably not very often.
Probably not anymore. That was such a, home base for him and Linda, right? He wouldn't have brought, what's her face?
Millsy
named. Yeah, her or Nancy. I don't think would fancy going up to Scotland. That was such a Paul and Linda authentic. We're gonna just figure it out and start a new life area that.
I wonder if like Stella or Mary would go up there because they spent their formative years there, didn't they?
Yeah, and that's why
must hold great memories for them. They said that it does in the book, don't they?
Yeah, but that makes their involvement in the film so much more authentic because they were there for it all, these moments and stuff.
Do you recall this? Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much time on the farm anymore, I'm guessing.
No.
Yeah. Slightly off topic, watching the new version of Let It Be movie. How good are them versions of two of us? That have rolling heavy middle bit is awesome.
All those versions of Two of Us are great.
Yes, they are.
I like the really fast one that was in Get Back.
Yeah,
where they're just like laughing at each other. They're almost racing each other to the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wonderful little moment.
Yeah.
I know this is my nephew. I always say it. You don't want me not to say it. I won't say it. He says he likes Joe Strummer. They even gotten Joe Strummer of the Clash on Dark Horse.
Uh-huh.
Well, John had a lot of time for Ringo. When John was asked how the Beatles were doing after the breakup, John said, "I'm glad Ringo's doing okay." Yeah, right. Well, he said, "I'm glad everybody's doing okay, but in particular that Ringo's doing okay because even though he makes films and he's good at it, was worried about how's his recording career going to be."
Mm.
And then he says, "And at the moment, it's probably doing better than mine, actually," which was great.
Mm.
Yeah, I've committed a lot of those things to memory. What's up, Kenny? Yeah, that was a big omission to me. I really wanted a little bit. You don't know how much rights they have to these things, but I would have liked to see a little promo or performance or whatever of when they're doing With a Little Luck in '78. I know they did it in the rehearsal later on, 1980. I would have liked to see a little of when it was a hit song in '78 to cover that album. What do you think?
The coolest thing for me was watching him record vocals for Morse Moose and the Grey Goose. I was totally not expecting that at all.
Nope.
It was such a short clip. It's a real shame. I'd like to see more of that, but maybe it'll be on the London Town Archive.
Maybe when it comes out. And the next thing you know, they'll unearth a thing of Paul in the studio doing the frog chorus. Right?
Let's go. Let's get it.
I mean,
if only it was in the time frame.
Yeah.
Linda was done touring, and Paul was worried after John. Well, that's true too. Yeah, after John was killed at the end of after Wings. Yeah. Yeah, well, Ringo has that about him. I mean, with the Beatles, he's in them. He's there, unconditional love, all that kind of stuff.
Well, except when he's refusing to do autographs.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't.
Well, I mean,
He
yeah,
doesn't come over decent and humble then.
No, he does not.
yeah. Well, when I witnessed Paul, well, we'll talk about that off camera, whatever.
As
He
he,
needs to
in the
remember.
house.
He needs to remember who put him where he is.
Exactly.
Hi, Mazzy.
Hello, Mazzy. Do you have opinions? I know you did a video. Let me know if you want to come up.
He's been rocking out to Wings today on his social. He's been playing Wings. You can play.
Oh,
Wings.
that was a beautiful moment with Nicholes. That's another thing. I said, please.
Because Brinsley Schwartz, Nicholes was the bass player in Brinsley Schwartz, who were like pub rock band in the mid sort of 70s, and they were the support band on the Wings Over Europe tour, I think, or was it the UK tour? I can't remember now.
UK.
Was it 1973 UK?
73
tour?
UK tour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how Nicholes was. I love Nicholes. He's great.
Good songwriter.
I was hoping they were going to put Mary Had a Little Lamb in there. So they got to put a clip of that in here just to make the point again, what was going on. And they did. And I'm, this is another one I'm going to ask you. Somebody asked me, this is another myth that I've heard Paul himself say in an early interview was not true. Somebody said to me, and I forget who it was, I apologize, in a comment. Too bad they didn't explain how he did Mary Had a Little Lamb to object to Give Ireland Back to the Irish being banned. And he said, and I've heard Paul, I can still hear it, and the room I was in when I heard it, where he said, people think that I did it, try to ban this, but that wasn't true, he said. So what do you guys think of that?
I thought the story.
You don't understand the way I described it, I guess.
I do understand it, and I know that story. But the way that I heard it is he did it because it was, his daughter was called Mary, and that was her favorite song, and blah blah blah. And
but imagine if you hadn't heard that little interview clip or something, right? Then people would go on believing it. That's what happened.
But I wrote, try and ban this, and I get that, and they had the Give Ireland Back to the Irish advert that said banned everywhere. So now you're going to come off with this little soft nursery rhyme, which tells a nice story, but it's not true.
There's the two commercials. I like those. Yeah, when John and Ringo helping each other out with the commercials, advertising walls and bridges. For Ringo and John talking about Goodnight Vienna. Yeah. And speaking of Goodnight, I really wish there had been a little clip. At least have a little with a little luck in there, and at least have a little Goodnight Tonight. I mean, it's only.
We heard Arrow Through Me. So that period of Wings.
It's always Arrow Through Me. It's always Arrow Through Me, right? They do that. They put that on. Was it Pure McCartney or whatever?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a little bit of Goodnight Tonight in the film? I kind of, because they, when Wings left the stage, because in that 79 tour, Goodnight Tonight was the last song before the encore, and it's got a very abrupt ending. Good night tonight, and that's it. And then they're gone. They're gone, right. And I'm sure I heard that in the film. Was that not?
I mean, see a little bit of Lawrence, playing, and Steve, with the hair slicked back, and a little bit more with them, giving them a little more spotlight. That's what I kind of was referring to, I guess. But we all have our little things that we want. I know you can't have everything in there because you'd have a 4-hour film.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a compilation album. Everyone's got a different opinion about what should be on it. And it's the same. It's the same for a film. You've only got 2 hours to play with. And, that's why Wildlife doesn't get a mention. Retro Speedway doesn't get a mention. Venus and Mars doesn't exist.
That was also,
You can't squeeze it all in, and you've got to make sacrifices to fit the 2 hours, I suppose.
But I mean, if we wanted those albums mentioned and referenced, what do we want to hear? We want to hear Paul say, I did Wildlife, and I did this song and this album, and the critics didn't like it. Like it was, I don't think that was going to be the story that Morgan wanted to tell. Like chronologically going through, like he said, a Wikipedia entry type of film. He didn't want to make that. He didn't want to.
But you start at the beginning, and you got McCartney with the album, you got Ram, and you think, oh, I get it. We're gonna start just for a moment spotlighting each album as it became, and then it peters off.
I know. It's a different way of telling a story in a film, and it's an effective film. It's just not one that's complete, covering Wings. It's not.
Okay, let's see. Well, anybody else? So, get more comments coming, and I put the link out. I don't know if Mazzy's still here, if he wants to come up or not, but I put it out just in case. You got to place your wig on straight.
As you say, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I won't be a sec.
Oh,
thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's okay. I knew you'd want to know.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, so Mazzy, I know you put a video up.
Yeah, I loved it. My point was, I didn't watch any of your reviews yet. I watched yours this morning. I saw it last night, but I watched your review this morning because I didn't want to get tainted by other people's reviews yet until I saw it, and you guys were ahead of me. And I really enjoyed it. It was better than I expected. I like it was about the man, and I know there's some criticism about they didn't go through every album, but it wasn't a catalog of albums, and they always do that with these kind of things. So I liked it better that it was about the man. I guess you could argue in the beginning they showed some of the covers and later
started with a catalog album.
Yeah, I understand that. But I liked it, and I liked how they didn't whitewash things. And there's some embarrassing things there when you hear Linda really off key singing the isolated thing, and the James Paul McCartney special. And of course, when I saw that, I'm old enough to see that saw it when it came out once because it was on broadcast, and it was weird. It just didn't fit Paul then, even.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they did. What didn't they do? There's a BBC clip I think last night of when. And now there's the new Led Zeppelin. They play like a snippet of Led Zeppelin showing rock is heavy and showing the opposite of Paul doing his kind of
I love
music at the time.
And Paul said something back at it, like, I forget what he said, but he was like, so some people don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I liked it. I mean, you always want more, but I also my point, what I said, a lot of people say, well, we already know that. But when you make a documentary like this, you have to assume no one knows anything about the subject. Because if you say, 25 years ago, they did this for Wingspan or whatever it is, we're not going to do that now. That doesn't make the documentary complete that you're doing today.
No.
So I thought he pulled it off. And it seems to me like he did whatever he wanted. And Paul probably just said fine and didn't. I mean, I don't know. I didn't hear any details. I did hear an interview with him on the BBC, the director. And I don't know if he had to change anything, but it doesn't seem like he did.
He didn't.
Excuse me, guys. I didn't know. When I said there were no more comments, I wasn't seeing any more. Were there more? Because I didn't see any. Maybe they were there the whole time. Now I'm seeing a lot of comments, but I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, wow. I have a feeling that I was blocked. That the comments stopped or something on me, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
2 weed busts in the film.
You know what I thought was really cool? I was taken back like a lot of people seeing Paul at 83, how he is now. At the end, the last 10-minute or the extra 10-minute bit, it was a little odd, that interview, because it wasn't really complete, like a beginning, middle, or end. It was strange. However, the thing that I thought was really interesting is when the director said, pulled out his passport from the 70s and said, you really never entered Japan. They didn't stamp you in Japan. And that was their like loophole. And it seemed like he was surprised hearing that. I don't know if it's just because he was 83, he doesn't remember, but it was kind of probably a loophole for the Japanese to let him go. So, Japanese are all about saving face and, honor and all that stuff. So if they have a law that you have to go to
Politeness,
prison by not accepting him, that he didn't really arrive in Japan, that was like a technicality. I thought that was really interesting.
Is this Man on the Run thing going to be on streaming or something? Yeah.
So
Or what is it? Amazon.
So I have an interesting note here from the production notes that Morgan Neville asked Paul. He said at one point Neville asked Paul about possibly filming something with him, perhaps at the very end of the film or the beginning, to bookend it. And Morgan says, I took his temperature on it, and he said, I don't want to be an old person in a young person's film. And I thought that was very wise. So I guess he wanted to maybe have modern day Paul at the end of it. And he said, nope, let's just have my voice in the whole thing, which was cool.
Well, they put him at the end in the theater, and I'm glad we still have Paul. But the juxtaposition, was that the right word, or the contrast, was noticeable. But the man's going to be 84. Tone, was the robot there when you saw Paul live?
Yeah. Yeah, they brought it out, and he kicked it to start off. It's like a beat machine, beatbox sort of thing. And he kicked it, and then it started. That's how he started the groove.
Was that the European tour?
No, the UK tour.
UK 79.
79.
Okay, right. Okay.
What's Paul and Linda's daughter Heather been up to? Never hear anything about her.
No, her and Beatrice, they kind of keep themselves to themselves, don't they? They're out of the limelight.
Good thing they skipped the toot and the snore.
Yes, horrible
It
bootleg.
was horrible, man. Except for historical reasons, and even then, it's not anything to listen to.
Mazzy, what kind of theater did you see it in? Was it packed, sold out?
Yeah, it was. I said it was about 80%. I mean, we were in the front section, and when I bought tickets late, and the whole upper tier is a pretty big theater. Sound was great, actually.
Oh.
It wasn't. I didn't seem to be an Atmos type of thing. I didn't hear like a big wide mix that I thought I might. But there were some of the closer rows that were empty, the two closer rows. So I would say 80 to 85% full, and a great audience. It was great. Enjoyed it.
Everybody chuckle when Mike McCartney said, I saw him at his funeral.
Yeah,
well, that was funny, but I think Nick Lowe got the biggest laugh with Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah, that was the biggest.
I love that. Yeah. And I didn't realize, it's funny, right? I thought Brinsley Schwartz right away, but I don't think I remembered or knew that Brinsley Schwartz. So that would have been Dave Edmunds too, right? Dave Edmunds. Yeah. And Martin, what's his name? I have a couple of their records.
Do you think Wings lost its wings once Paul started throwing Beatles tunes into the set? I don't think so.
No.
Not really, because he only during the Wings period, I don't think he ever did more than 5 in a set.
No.
Yeah, you and all of us, Eric, right? Man on the Run, 1-to-1 full concert. Give us a George concert film too for this year. You listening to that? Harrison Estate. Don't keep repackaging George's albums over and over again.
I know I'm in the minority with this group here, but I saw 2 of those George concerts, one in Oakland and one in San Francisco. And after seeing that, I kind of don't want to have it on video.
Yeah, you don't want them. I've heard you say that, Maz.
I know, but I know it's not fair. It's just I loved it because it was the first time I ever saw Beatles, and the band was great. And the highlight every night or the 2 nights was Billy Preston, obviously, when he did "That's the Way God Planned It." But it was a little cringy. But you're seeing a Beatle.
Dave Pounds approves his message. Dave Pounds, you guys know.
Oh, my buddy. That's my buddy.
I saw that. My buddy too. You kidding me? And Tone's buddy. The guy's always negative about everything. But once in a while, I mean, look, I wonder if they have enough footage. They supposedly they do. I think Danny said a while ago that they were going to do something for the 74 tour. But the thing is, if you can find the best bits, maybe not a straight concert, but a little documentary, if they're on best.
It could probably be a great 6-minute film. I'd rather have Bangladesh, really.
I'm tired of Bangladesh, but that's what they're going to do. But right,
I haven't watched Bangladesh in probably 20 years.
I mean, that's also them repeating themselves if they do that. I don't know, to me, but
When's the last time it was out, though? Really? I mean, 20 years?
I don't know. I have a pretty good, I guess, it's DVD back there. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, that's old people. Well, I'm older, but it's been 20 years, right? Or 30 years, maybe. It was like with the DVD height in the 90s, maybe.
Early 2000s, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, wants to know why the film's only in theaters for 2 days. I think we're lucky to get it in theaters because it's meant to be not
Streaming. It was only going to be one day, and then there was demand, so they added a second.
No.
I bet you they do theaters a lot of times because if you don't do it in a proper theater, it can't be nominated for the Academy Award for documentary next year. So you have to have it so many days play. I don't know what the rule is now. So that's probably it. Amazon like to get Oscars like Netflix. They put when Frankenstein came out, it was for a few days or a week, whatever. It played in certain cities. So.
No whitewashing. He ignored why Denny Sywell and Henry McCullough quit the band.
No, he didn't. But if you blinked, you missed it. when that was announced, you had a quote from Denny Sywell where he talked about the money, and you had a quote from Henry McCullough where he talked about artistic freedom, and that they were the reasons. And it came just before that Band on the Run sequence.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Blink and you missed it.
I noticed that. And again, that's one of the things. Again, I liked that it was honest.
Yeah,
that was able to stay in the film.
One subject I don't know if it would have fit at all, but a big part in the 70s is when the Eastmans became the business partners, I guess, or management, whatever you want to call it, for Paul and Linda. The whole publishing thing, buying the music and getting into that. And I don't know how you would fit that in, maybe a longer version that would be appropriate. And maybe most people don't care about that. But it's kind of an interesting story, how he loved his music, the Buddy Holly stuff, the chorus line, Annie, all the publishing, MPL,
Grease, he bought Grease as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I think I heard for years he owned Happy Birthday. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. But and they had the scene with Guido Sarducci, and I remember, that's when there was that bit on Saturday Night Live with Guido Sarducci.
Yeah, they played a little of that, which was good. Very little. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
No, sorry. I was just reading Elliot's comment. I haven't seen your Season Glass.
I haven't either. Is that about the new vinyl?
Yeah, what I did, I like to do announcements on my channel, not always Beatles, but Chimera finally, after 6-7 years, is continuing the Yoko, at least one title. They're next summer, didn't have exact date. Season of Glass on white vinyl. They're doing the Chimera, which is a little heavier cover stock, and a CD with 3 bonus tracks, which are obviously the single of
Walking on Thin Ice.
Yeah, Walking on Thin Ice. It's got a Phil Spector mix of Dogtown, a mix that's never been released apparently, and one other song that's a demo. I forgot which one.
Was it? It Happened. That was the original bass.
Maybe. But I'm surprised because I didn't realize I don't have a UK version. Apparently, you guys, the UK came with a 7-inch single of Walking on Thin Ice. So.
Well, mine didn't. I thought Walking on Thin Ice when it came out February '81, and then the album came out, I think, in the summer. It didn't have a single in it though.
Well, a bunch of comments in my thing. Some people from the UK said they got.
Maybe it was a later issue or something.
Could be.
I don't know. It was
on
Geffen though. I think it was on Geffen.
Yeah, but I love that record. I mean,
it's a good Yoko album. People out there, a lot of times, they knock Yoko, and when I tell them, there's some good Yoko albums, I tell them that one, Season of Glass. I tell them Approximately Infinite Universe is a good one. I like Fly. Those are like the 3.
And the controversy of the album cover was a big deal too. But I liked it.
I like the album cover. I get it.
Liking is a hard thing to say, but I get what she was doing
there. Yeah, the message behind it is a message. It's actually a positive message, really.
Yeah,
when you flip the album on the back,
it confronts the shock of whatever that.
Yeah, I think it's her best album. It's a difficult listen, but I think it's probably her best album. Is that label the same as Secret Canadian, or is that different?
It is. Well, it's owned by Sean and Charlotte and what's her name? Another Japanese woman. I don't know if it's the one from Siba Mata, but and they do what else do they do? They did some Black Lip stuff that Sean produced, and they did that. I have that the album that was an avant-garde weird thing with Yoko, Thurston Moore, and Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth. That was about 20 years ago, which is out of print now. Yeah, but he's got nobody else wants to put that stuff out, so good for him doing it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all of. They put out the Wedding album.
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
and it had all the stuff. I mean, that's a lot of money to put that together.
When the James Paul McCartney special came out, I wasn't really into it heavy at all. I wasn't into it at all, but I was 11. But I do remember, for whatever reason, the only thing I remember is the pub scene when singing. Wait a minute, I say pub scene when they had people on the street doing some songs.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I meant. And "Can't Buy Me Love" was one of them, I think.
That's a horrible.
I remembered for years was when there was that thing when he's playing the guitar and Yoko, and Linda is taking pictures with the umbrella, the photography, like a photo shoot going on, you know. I want to see that actually. I might go someday.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yes, in the gift shop. Go to my channel. There, mugs and T-shirts. It's the music, stupid.
It's the music, stupid.
Why not? Right?
That's a great brand, man. Very good brand.
Yeah. Tone, I heard Paul was mad that Plant was playing his. Is that Hofner?
Hofner, was it?
Yeah.
It must be Hofner.
Hofner.
I don't know. I don't think. Do you mean on the tour? You mean on the tour? Kampuchea. I don't remember him even getting the Hofner out.
There's a picture of it.
He played the Yamaha.
Robert Plant's playing bass?
Yes, there's a picture of it. I have it. I'll show it to you. My friend just sent me this picture. Boyan from Australia. He's one of the only people to hold the Hofner, but not play it. Hold on. I'll show you the photo.
Yeah, we did mention the original cut 2.5 hours long, but there's supposedly 4 hours.
Yeah, didn't Tone on your video you mentioned 4 hours, didn't you? I watched your video this morning too.
There you go.
Okay, was it worth blowing that up?
Oh, look like Peter Campbell. Oh, well, he's playing it backwards then, obviously. I mean,
you can see it.
Yeah, there it is.
Absolutely not. I will never become a vegetarian. They say never say never because I want my animal protein. Never.
I could be a vegetarian if I had a cook that did it. I couldn't do it on my own. But when I've been around vegetarians and who cook really well and you get used to it, it's actually really good. I just couldn't do it myself. It's easier to cook a burger or a steak or chicken or something.
Make a sandwich.
That's true.
Yes. You hear
one of my buddies saw Harrison in Madison Square Garden in '74. He said it was great, but from what I've heard, his voice was awful. Yeah, I just wonder if they could. You make a little documentary. That's why an hour-long thing, 50 minutes long, maybe. I don't know.
Isn't
what do I know? Is there enough stuff? That you can do.
George Harrison, why couldn't he put that album and that tour off 6 months or whatever until he got? I never to this day. And someone said, well, everything was booked and everything. Look at Morrissey or anybody now. They cancel things all the time if someone's sick.
Yeah, maybe it was different then. Was there? I don't know.
That was right after Dylan did his big comeback tour.
He was still recording the album Dark Horse once the tour started.
Right. I forgot about that. I forgot the timing exactly, but yeah. But it's so weird. Because I think the Dark Horse songs are great, and some of them sound fine.
So
but
do I.
They could have been so much better,
Was Townsend drunk at that 70? I always thought so.
I don't know if he was drunk, but he refused to put on the silver top hat. everyone in the orchestra put on a silver top hat, apart from Pete Townsend, because he was just far too cool.
Not the suit either. He threw it in. Did he throw it?
I don't know. Can't remember.
He takes it off.
A long time ago.
Did you go to Kampuchea?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Well, I've never been. You said it was a long time ago. I've never been there, but I saw it in the clip when he puts it on.
Yeah.
The guy Paul or somebody puts it on.
Puts
Somebody
it on.
puts it on his head. And he just goes
He
like
throws
that.
it away. Yeah.
He throws it away. All right. Again, you can't have everything. Backyard session. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Well, I know he
Russell.
was in the band
Russell's
after
in
that.
the Philippines. No, Dave Edmunds in Brunswick.
Okay. He was in Rockpile. I know that.
Who said they were? He was.
I thought I said Dave Edmunds.
Oh
Yeah.
no, he
But I know he was in Rockpile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they played Campuchia the night that Wings played Rockpile. It was Elvis Costello, Rockpile, who did a song called Little Sister with Robert Plant. Robert Plant came out and played with Rockpile, and then it was Wings, and then in Rockestra.
Rockpile.
Billy Connolly was the compare.
I saw Rockpile on Friday the week John died. John died Monday, and I saw.
Okay.
And I was waiting. I don't remember. I think they said one thing. They were playing at the Warfield Theater, and they didn't cover any Lennon songs or anything. But it was just a weird thing singing music 5 days later.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah. Was that the Seconds of Pleasure tour?
That's the only. Yeah. Isn't that's the only album they did, right?
Is it?
Yeah, I think that, and there's a 45 in it. I think that's the only.
Yeah, it has got 45 in it.
Yeah, that's a good album.
It is. Yeah.
Tony says James Paul McCartney is a fun TV special. Love the Uncle Albert segment. That's okay. There's a couple. I think there's some moments in there. I love the intro. I love Big Barn Bed. That's my favorite part of the whole thing when they're doing that.
Mm.
And Paul does a little medley.
Yes.
Acoustic.
That's what Mazzy was just talking about. Yeah.
Was that a strange decision for the film, the Man on the Run film? So were the only bit of footage that they showed from the 72 European tour was Big Barn Bed, if I remember rightly, them doing Big Barn Bed. And that comes from the Bruce McMouse film. But they're not actually playing it live. It's the studio version. But the band are, they're not miming to it, but it's not the audio from them playing it live. I thought that was weird when they've got like a load of stuff on that Bruce McMouse film that they
sometimes when you watch it, I didn't even notice or think about it. I would, sometimes those things go by and then you think of it later.
Yeah, it all happens very quickly when it's
I don't mind that kind of artistic license. Usually, if it's about a visual thing, because when you see things all the time, when it's like a music video, they'll cut things. The person's not playing that part in the song, but it works with the cut. Yeah. So that's how I look at it.
Just to kind of iron out the whole Rockpile stuff from the production notes. One special treat for you Rockpile fans is commentary from the great Nick Lowe, whose band Brinsley Schwartz, as it turned out, opened for Wings. Says Neville, I found out Nick Lowe was in the opening act after, and I thought, my God, what are his memories of this? So yeah, it's just cool. It's cool, man, that all these people got contacted for it.
I like that they have, I don't know the guy's name, but the bagpipe guy.
Oh. Hold on, let me.
I really liked. I'm a fan of Mulligan Tire. Maybe because of us Americans.
Tony,
we haven't heard it over and over and over and over here because it wasn't a hit here. But I love that song because, as I said in my video, it's one of those songs that doesn't sound like anyone wrote it. It sounds like it was a standard forever.
Yeah.
Carried down over the generations from Scotland, and like. Oh, Happy Day, or one of those type of things, and I just love it.
I love that song. I love the song now, but I didn't like it when I was young and I first heard it for whatever reason. On Wings Greatest is when I first really heard it. When I really, and I say what did it for me was I was at the Beatle Fest at the time, and they used to show on the big screen promo films, and they had the promo film, the one the little bit that you saw of Mulligan Tire, because there were more than one version of it. But the one outside the little house and with Linda and Denny. And I said, it just fit. Sometimes you see something and it actually hits you better or something. Then I loved it. The camaraderie, all of them together. And I really love this song.
Was that ever considered to be included on London Town, that song, or not?
I don't think so, no.
Was it around that time? It was.
All right. Someone in your comments section of your video said they are disappointed in the Lennon estate for ignoring Paul in their docs, while Paul doesn't shy away a lot of John. I didn't really think about that. I didn't notice it. I can't remember them all.
Because John wasn't really around Paul. I mean, I don't know.
I will say this though, that if you remember, I mean, Paul not physically in the film, but in the 1-to-1 film that came out in April last year, when you see that shot of John and Yoko's bedroom in the Bank Street apartment, and the camera pans across, and what do you see laying on the floor?
Yeah,
a load of records, and Ram is on the top.
Ram.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a little nod. There was a little nod there.
Right. Good point. Good point.
They didn't strategically place it there, but there was a little nod there. Because I don't think John and Paul really. That film was all about 1970, late 71 to summer 72. I'm not sure if John and Paul had any contact during that time.
So I don't know if you count the May Pang film. Do you count the May Pang film? That had, I think, some Paul stuff in there, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I wouldn't have thought that's not authorized by the Lennon estate.
Yeah.
No.
Good point. Good point.
Old fairy tale May Pang.
Yeah, well, we're on the same page with that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So, have you guys explored James McCartney's work much? I've heard a few tracks and like it. No, I know. I'm just
a little bit. I've listened to a little bit. I don't know. I used to have to get every record, everything a Beatle or a Beatle relative or everything. And finally, in the last 4 or 5 years, I'm not that deep. I mean, if someone played on a track, all those days in the 70s and 80s when it was Harry Georgeson and all the, he's playing on this band and on that album, and Milo LaFleur and Alvin Lee and George Harrison songs, So Sad's on that. I'd have to get everything, and I got most.
I know it's a never-ending rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yeah. I've cut back a lot, on things. It still may not always look like it to everybody, but like I'm not getting the Season of Glass. Even though I like the album, I'm not going to get that.
I haven't got tired with. Did I get it? No, I don't remember if I got the last Julian release. I just lost interest in Julian. But Sean, I'm really interested in his music, and there's another Claypool Lennon album coming out summer, and I'll probably go see them again.
They're touring as well, I think.
Yeah, I saw them twice, and they're excellent. Excellent. I mean, yeah. So,
watching from Australia, afternoon time here. Lucky to watch the one-day only screening here a couple of days ago. Very good. Let's see. What's the main difference between the Wingspan documentary and this one, which basically seem to cover the same period?
A lot.
25 years old.
It's 25 years old. That documentary was done really very quickly after Linda passed away. So it was kind of more of like Paul just talking to Mary about their mom, and Wings. Again, this was much more of a concerted effort to kind of talk about Wings and get more better band representation by having all that dialogue of all the members of the band in there, but still yet it's about Paul.
Did you guys ever see I thought it was a great documentary a couple years ago Mary did on Abbey Road?
Oh yes. These walls could sing. Great.
Yeah. I love that.
Great documentary.
Yeah, I didn't see it right away. I saw it maybe a year after.
Yeah. Awesome.
Really good.
A lot of great stuff with Hypnosis in there too. Yeah.
Okay, so we got Wingspan is Paul and Linda's story. Man on the Run is Paul, with the members of Wings.
But Linda's a big part of it, I think.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Yep.
Henry McCullough's solo is the best part of My Love. I always think that.
I love the song. I love it. But
I like it, but I think it's like 2 minutes too long. Whoa, 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 whoa. Too many times.
It's only 3 minutes long, Maz.
No,
I never understand people that bash that song.
Hey Siri, how long is Paul McCartney's song "My Love"?
Just pull it up right here.
Do you want me to use Chat GPT to answer that?
Oh, come on. It's a great song. That's all I need to tell you.
Maybe 50 seconds. Maybe
4 minutes and 7 seconds.
All right, so cut a minute off. I'll agree.
Yes.
It's interesting if you listen to the
I'm
Wings
a bastard. I'm sorry.
if you listen to the Wings Over Europe version of My Love, where My Love hadn't been recorded yet, and they do a version of it, that fantastic solo isn't there yet. He does a solo, but it's nowhere near as good as the.
I have that. I
the
have the
studio
archive
version.
set. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'd like to think so, but I don't know that would ever happen. Who knows?
I'm one that was thankful is the wrong word. I'm kind of glad they didn't get back together ever, because it's that old, I always use this phrase, and it's a Hollywood adage, leave the audience wanting more.
Yes.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's like, I hate to compare it to dead people, but Marilyn Monroe and James Dean, they'll always be young. They'll always be that. They won't be, the old guy, or like Paul, you know what I mean? It's just a great story. It's packaged in for a 10-year period, more or less, in the 60s.
No, I agree.
Frozen in time forever. Yeah.
Maybe not to write. What if John had been around in 1981? Could he have been one of the guests that made an appearance on Tug of War?
Oh,
yeah. I think that would have been fun, like a guest thing.
Yeah, just on a song, not necessarily.
And even write a song together.
Writing together, but come and play a bit of guitar,
but even write a
piano,
song
or whatever.
Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, I bet you he would have eventually.
What do you think of the Henry solo on the James Paul McCartney special? Even better than the record.
I can't remember it.
I can't really hear it now.
No,
great vocal on My Love.
I listened to Red Bull Speedway today, the regular and the.
I saw that. I saw your post on Instagram.
You get in the mood. You wake up this morning, and I saw it last night. I got home and
boom.
Yeah. I never get in the mood for Red Rose Speedway.
You should.
No.
There's some like "Oh Lazy Dynamite." The lyrics are banal, maybe, but there's a good vibe to that flow of that stuff.
Yeah, those are right. Hold Me Tight, and I have no problem with that little right. And I like Loop too. I'm sorry.
Oh.
When I heard Loop today, you know what I thought of? The first time I ever thought of, God, Paul's doing Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd. You never realized that?
I never thought of that.
Oh, that's
They were at Abbey Road.
Yeah, of course.
Recording that,
and that's the year of
when
Dark
Floyd
Side
were
of the Moon.
recording Dark Side of the Moon.
I never out loud thought, oh my God, it's Pink Floyd.
Totally.
And Henry McCulloch is one of the the voices on Dark Side of the Moon. The bloke that says, I can't remember which track it is. Is it between?
I got it in my head, and they laugh and all.
He says
the idiot is in my head.
I can't remember. I was very drunk at the time.
Oh,
that's Henry McCulloch, and that I think that is it. The bit before Brain Damage. I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah,
I can't remember.
Was that just shows you can still learn something new every day, even if you're into these.
You do. Oh, always do. But I forget what I learned. I feel like I just learned something new yesterday, Beatles related, and then I forgot what it was.
Because Paul and Linda also had a go at doing some of that, the speech bit. They asked them to do it, but they decided not to use it because it didn't feel candid enough.
Is that why they cut out his scene from A Hard Day's Night? Is that the same reason? Because he's not a very good actor. He's always hamming it up. I love Paul, but he's always. Yeah. I know someone.
I think he's the least of the actors of the Beatles.
Wasn't it someone here when I was watching the earlier, and someone was commenting, how come he's always smirking and smiling? And Paul's a ham. That's just him. I mean, I like the part in the movie where how for years some people really hated or thought that Paul was, it's a drag when John was killed, and I love that Sean confronted that and spoke about that.
I don't think that was necessary personally. It was nice that he did it, but I didn't think it was necessary.
Well, if you look on his face, he looks in shock.
He's in shock. I don't want to get into this now. He's in definite shock. Definite shock.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
In my video, I thought that was a very good quote to have in there. It's not like he's trying to let him off the hook. But he's trying to let him know that he understands. Obviously he's made that comment retrospectively because Sean was only 5 when that happened, but he's seen the footage since.
And I'm sure people have pointed it out to him over the years a lot.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
I think there's no other reason to include it in there except to try to debunk it and let him off the hook. That's only reason they have a quote in there.
I never thought there was a problem with it.
Well, I did not want this to come up, but it's coming up.
It's not like a flower either.
I mean, anyone with half a brain cell knows that, Paul was in a complete state of shock. And, I think, he was just trying to get away from those.
You know the best way to get away from a guy sticking a microphone in your face?
Yeah, don't say anything. Yeah,
stay home.
Yeah,
but he's in the studio. He's coming out, spending all day with George Martin.
I know. I'm going to talk about it.
So they were probably talking about that all day, and just or whatever. However, they're sharing that experience.
Yeah,
I made up my mind that I'm going to do a video about this at some point. So anybody don't think I'm stealing your idea.
Are you going to be like yelling, like rant type of thing?
No, there's no ranting involved in it. It's just that what gets me is that, again, Paul is obviously devastated, in shock. He loved John. He could see it in his face. You could hear it in his voice. You could see him chewing the way he chews the gum. You can see everything about it. So I'm not denying that. The only thing that irks me about it is that, or maybe that's a strong word, is that he found out early that morning and he decided to go out to work, which is what he does. He even says in the film, he kind of deals with things that way, right?
He does. He goes to work,
but still, okay. But in this one time, maybe you should have stayed in because this guy. Let me finish. This guy was in the business dealing with the press for how many years at that point? He knew that if he went out, he had to know somebody might thrust a microphone in his face. So I'm surprised. I'm just surprised he wasn't better prepared with a quick statement.
Yeah, but you're coming.
No, but what he's saying there is his attitude is, how dare you come up to me with a microphone when you know what I just went through?
Well, I get it.
His attitude there.
You're coming from a point of view. You're coming from an honest point of view that what Paul said was not good. I don't think it was bad.
I don't. Think
I just think
it was
it.
bad.
Well, let me ask you this. Now,
remember shocked and stunned. Back in,
how dare you ask me this question today of all days?
Okay.
That's what
Maharishi told us. Remember?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to defend it. Listen, the bottom line is, and I'm going to make the video about it. Like I said, you talk about how can anybody with half a brain? How could anybody with half a brain not realize that he was probably going to be ambushed by somebody at some point?
But what
just say no comment, or I'm too shocked right now.
Yeah, he could say no comment. How can he say no comment when people are asking him about his best friend? But what you're saying, Joe, is you're criticizing his choice in the way to grieve. That is how he's dealing with with the death. He's going to work and taking his mind off it and concentrating on
I'm not going to have 3 against 1. So let me talk.
Okay? He did say something before the drag thing. I forgot what he said.
Yeah, he did. And in the film, they cover that all up by Sean talking. I think the way it comes off in the movie is actually worse than it was, because all you hear really is at the end, drag, isn't it? I understand why he said it. He wasn't even thinking.
It was a big drag.
He wasn't even thinking. Well, it's one thing to go. The drag, isn't it? That's another thing to go. Drag, isn't it?
Because
but I know why he was doing it. I know why he was doing it. And what kills me about when I get into this is that I knock myself out saying the man loved John. He was devastated. He was shocked. He didn't know how to react. He wasn't even thinking. I say all that, but I'm just saying, what do you expect if you go out? He acts like, oh, gee,
highlight the comment that just came in on your channel there, Kimba.
They're all good. What? I'll look at it.
Highlight that comment right now.
I didn't see it yet. I will, but am I surprised if somebody's going to defend him? But I got the clincher at the end of this. Wait till I flip this with John in the scenario. Then we'll see. Well, okay.
First of all, reporters are going to ask him. I don't even blame the reporters. That's what they do. That's their job, good or bad.
It's natural to ask.
People react.
John Lennon.
People react like I'm into bad taste humor. To me, there's never too soon. I took the day off the day after John was killed, and my buddy and I drove down the coast from San Francisco to Half Moon Bay and just took a drive, stopped at a place, had a few, pints, you would call it in the old country. And he says to me, he says, Norman, and this is the next day. He says, Norman, what it would take to get the Beatles back together again? And I said, what? He says, 3 more bullets. And it's a bad taste joke, but this is the day after. We started cracking up, and obviously, I was in shock. We were all in shock, but that's the kind of John Lennon would have cracked up at that kind of joke.
Yeah, probably.
Harrison too, probably. I'm not
okay, but anyway, I don't. This is what reporters do. I don't think the guy did it in a really like nasty way or anything. He just did it a typical ask. I don't even have the question was phrased, but it's kind of laid back. So what do you hear? What do you think about it? Did you hear about the murder of John Lennon in New York? I obviously, what does Paul think? Obviously, he's devastated. You have to ask, but that's what reporters do. But now the question, and I know nobody's going to be honest. It's hard to imagine if it was reversed, and if Paul had been the one that had been assassinated, and John, nasty old John, came out, and even if he didn't mean it that way, and it came out like that, they'd be saying that's all John could say. It's like politics.
John would have had an edge to it. I mean, he would have been. Well, you saw it when Brian died. Remember?
That was stunned. What edge? He looked very, very.
Well, in that case, he was stunned and in shock.
Yeah, he didn't look edgy at all. He looked very sad
but
and
John
devastated.
Probably would have been shocked and stunned and sad, but also very angry too, probably.
Well, shocked and stuff. I think John handled the Epstein thing with John. He looks very lost.
Yeah, they were all also meditated out. They were like.
And again, I don't put anything deliberately or malice to Paul with this. It's not just came out. It wasn't even anything. It didn't mean anything negative against John by it, not at all. But anyway, should have stayed home, Paul. And one last thing. The next time, wait a minute, when he learned his lesson, because the next time when it was George, he pulls up his van or Jeep, whatever he was driving, gets out at the driveway, goes up to the report. Okay, guys. What do you want to know? What do you want to talk about?
Well, John was
2 different completely situations. John was murdered in cold blood, and George was sick.
They knew George was dying. Yeah,
yeah, a long time before. But anyway, I didn't want this to come up. It was brought up, and
I don't think it was one of the worst comments, Garrett. I'm sorry. I don't. In fact, when I first heard it, I didn't take it that way either. And people started talking about it, and it made it worse than it really was.
But I know that. But again, Garrett, Jeff, it wasn't. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't to hurt John. It wasn't an insult. I get that. I just think it was a poor choice of comment. But no, nobody faults Paul. I get it. Nobody ever does. Yeah. Well, you're late, all right, because we're about to go off. It's over 2 hours, so we're about to go off. Let's see. Any more comments before George also died at a house Paul owned?
Mazzy, did you get both vinyl copies of the soundtrack, the orange and the yellow?
No, I haven't ordered it yet. I'm just going to pick it up locally. I'm not getting multiple editions anymore of anything.
Well, that's the only thing.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I did order. I ordered it from whatever, I guess the site. I ordered it from Paul McCartney's site. I'm sorry. I forget what I ordered, but I ordered 1 copy. So that was yellow, I think, right?
Yeah,
Orange?
The Third Man yellow.
Yeah.
Taxi.
Well, that's Marcus. That's what else I'm thinking is like, it's easy in hindsight, right? To say should have done this, should have done that, in fairness. But had he just heard the news that morning and immediately a reporter was right there when he got the news, it turned in his face, then I could imagine even fuck off, but the thing is, he had all day. Now, I'm not saying a day. Now, I had to jump. A day is not enough to overcome a friend's loss, but it wasn't like it just happened that moment. It was all day. He was crying with George Martin, and they reminisced, and I don't know. It just popped out.
I have a group of, they're dying off, unfortunately, but a small group of friends into music and our record store days and music business, very close in San Francisco. And one died 8 months before I moved here. And when he died, and it was kind of sudden and a weird, tragic thing, we all got together and hung out, went to a bar. We wanted to be together. We wanted to talk. I didn't want to sit at home alone. We talked about our friend Larry, and we talked about music, and we laughed, and that's what we wanted to do. And we didn't want to be separate, or even with our families. In that case, we wanted, because we had a certain commonality. So Paul with George, he's lucky he had George Martin that day.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Linda, obviously. Linda was alive. So who knows if was she at the studio with him at that time when they were recording?
I don't think she went in. No.
Jeff Emerson there.
Okay, but they had been working on that album, so I think they had to be there. Whether they recorded, I don't think they recorded anything, but they were just there, like drinking tea.
They worked on Rain Clouds that day, and a gentleman from Ireland flew over. Paddy Maloney from the Chieftains flew over to work on Rain Clouds, specifically on that song on that day.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were actually really working. I mean, the guy flew over, and he called George Martin after hearing the news and was like, "Am I still coming over?" And he says, "Paul wants to work." So he flew over.
I don't blame him. There's certain people that have to work it out in a way, I get
that, but if you're going to go out there, you're going to probably run into somebody.
Well, look like Yoko. Look how soon she put out Walking on Thin Ice, like 2 months.
7 months. How many months later?
John loved the song. John loved the song.
The single came out 6 or 8 weeks after John died. The album didn't
John wanted it out. He loved this. He loved the song.
Well, he had the cassette in his hand or in his pocket.
Yeah. But anyway,
the song they were working on that night was "Walking on Thin Ice."
They finished the mix.
They finished it. Yeah.
That cassette, the final mix was in his pocket or in his hand, and just can you imagine that tragedy? Some partners would say, "I don't want to hear that song ever again in my life."
Yeah.
Yoko confronts it, and that's her way of doing it. She put those glasses on that cover. She confronts it. A lot of people were horrified. I said earlier in that cover, but I get it.
I get the cover too.
People deal with grief in different ways.
Absolutely,
and that's a fact. I mean, similar to your story, Mazzy, about your friend that died. I mean, that's how the Irish treat death. Don't they? They have a wake. They all get pissed, and they tell jokes and stories about the person that's died.
That's an Irish wake. Just call me McMazzy from now on.
Nick Mazzy.
Well, I'm going to
Mazzy. That's Paul talking about his own self too. In the end of the end,
Just to reiterate, I'm not taking anything away from Paul. That's the way he deals with grief. He has to work to get into work, try to forget it. I get that, but if you do that, you should know you're going to run into a reporter in all likelihood. That's all I'm saying.
Fair. And that's fair, Joe. His intentions were, I'm channeling my grief by working, and
that's fine. That's not the issue.
Realize you might encounter a reporter, and I get.
And I have to leave the building some point.
Right.
And do you know what studio they were at when they were on that
Air Studios?
Right. So it's George Martin's studio. Okay.
And now, had that been today, for a fact, Paul's security team wouldn't even let a reporter come, 10 inches between them.
Think about what happened to us at Abbey Road.
Oh,
they wouldn't even let us take a photo on the steps.
No. Forget it now.
Cut us out.
Yeah. This is a good question. This is a very good question. I don't know. This is a good way to put an end to the show. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's 2 a.m. where Beatley tone is or so, right?
Nothing for him.
It's 10 past 2.
But no, this was a great discussion, with all facets of it, and I really enjoyed the movie, Man on the Run, and looking forward to seeing it again. But hopefully, a physical media one day I'll get it. I'm not going to see it on whatever it is, TV, streaming, whatever. I'd watch it many times over. All right, so everybody here, why don't you tell us where you can be found, and if you want to plug anything. Let's start with Beatley Tone this time. Beatley Tone.
Oh, you always start with me.
I do. I want to be respectful to you.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to go? If you go, I'll make you go later.
Well, you can find me on my channel, Beatley Tone's Beatles channel. My latest couple of videos, obviously, I've done a review of Man on the Run. Previous to that, I was gifted a couple of Mo-Fi albums, which I've never owned any Mo-Fi albums, so I'm kind of talking about them and reviewing them. me and Andy. You can find me and Andy on Hands Across the Water, where we've got our generational podcast, where we've got me in my 60s, Andy in his 40s, and Kyle in his 20s. So we kind of get a different, a different viewpoint on the same topic. And on Sunday, I think we're going to be releasing our latest episode of the Beatle Board, which is a Beatle game show that has been written and devised by me and Paul from the Dinner with Greedo channel, and we're having so much fun making this show.
So much fun.
So please watch it. It's going to be dropping on this episode is dropping on my channel. We take it in turns. One episode on mine, one on Paul's. But it's on mine. The next episode's on mine, and it is a lot of fun. And I can tell you, it's a nail-biting finish.
Oh, really? Oh, I just bite my nails to wonder what, when I watch these things, to see what the scores are going to be, if they're going to go past mine. Because I played on the first episode of that.
But it was great because we had Ross Goodall, who's a YouTuber. He was a contestant this time, and he is big mates with Ollie, who is at the top of the Beatle board at the moment. So there's like a bit of I was quite excited about the friend rivalry between the two of them, because they're mates. They make videos together. They live quite near each other as well, and so it was a good episode. It was a good episode.
Okay, Mazzy.
Mazzy's music on YouTube. And this is probably the first time in a long time or in a while that probably all four of us have the exact same video up right now. Our last video. Yeah. Mine's not only probably maybe 10% of my videos are Beatle related. It's records and music, mostly vinyl, but not all vinyl, CDs, all kinds of music, new releases.
You do auctions too, don't you?
Well, I do. I'm going through some of my collection in front of me. I do Whatnot auctions,
right? At
Whatnot app, but they stream live on YouTube, so people can watch them, but they can't bid there. I do those once a month because I like, for instance, I just sold 6 American sealed Capitol Beatle records.
Yeah, wow.
Because I bought the entire American set that I kept sealed once the CDs came out, thinking, Capitol got out of the American configuration then, and I said, these aren't going to ever be available again. Of course, they're probably early 80s pressings or mid 80s pressings, and I don't need 10 copies of Beatles 6 anymore, things like that at this point in my life. So sealed, I can get $50 or more for them, wow. And so I do that, but I do things I grew up in San Francisco, so a lot of my San Francisco psychedelic, Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane, being in that kind of mode. So that's what my channel's about.
All right, Andy, once more.
Cool. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Andy Nicholes, the Backwards Traveler. That's my main channel. Did a video with Tony just on the film. Then we did a really cool one on "We All Stand Together," Joe's favorite Paul McCartney song ever, last week. And you can also find me on Two Legs, which I do.
It's better than the Skeleton song.
Agreed. I agree with that.
It's better than Mr. H. Atom as well.
I just talked about that recently, actually.
I'll take Mr. H. Atom.
Oh, my God. Two Legs, of course, I do with Tom Hunyadi, and Hands Across the Water. And Two Legs will be live on Monday night, about 8 or 8:30 Eastern time, for a live recap of the film. Now that the 2 screenings will have been done, Sunday is the next one and the last one, and before the Amazon drop. So that'll be over on Two Legs, but everything else will be on Backwards Traveler, so you can find me there.
Okay, so that's it, huh? All right, everybody. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, everybody, in the comments. And I don't know, that's it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Me and Mr. Mayo. I got the 2 other channels I was flashing for movies and TV, Mr. Cinemayo. And I'm back to my 3rd channel for retirement and lifestyle and all that bull. And trying to get along in the crazy world we live today.
You're like Ryan.
I was going to ask you how many channels you had this week, Joe.
Mayo loves Mondays, and then I'm going to start a 4th channel after the show, my therapist channel, where I go and see my shrink after this.
Yes.
What channel's the Collectors Anonymous going to be on?
Oh yeah, Collectors Anonymous. Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Yes, all right.
On George's birthday, actually, the 25th, I'm going to be doing my next Collectors Anonymous show. That's going to be on the Mean Mr. Mayo show channel, my regular channel. It's going to be, I forget the time now, man. I think 5 p.m. Eastern or something like that. It's going to be on Collectors Anonymous, where I get together with collectors, and anybody's welcome on these shows too, like popping on, or I have somebody lined up already, but I could throw a link out there.
Are we all making some kind of George Harrison video for next week?
I think I'm going to just rank the albums again. Honestly,
I haven't thought about it. Maybe I should. Yeah.
I think I got a different ranking this time since the last time I did it a while ago. I think, I put electronic sound number 1.
No.
No, then I don't even use those.
I always put Wonderwall in my top 3.
Oh yeah, really?
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess you're getting the Zoetrope then.
I love that record.
No, see, that's something I'm down. No Zoetropes, but then again, sometimes you get sent things. not the Harrisons.
As a what year did that count? 68, 14-year-old. It was great. It was just so different and Indian and psychedelic a little bit, and that Eric Clapton guitar thing, and just weird soundtrack music. I loved it. So,
all right, guys, this is going on a little longer than I like, but thank you. A lot of fun, and we'll do it again. So, cheers, everybody.
Take care. Bye.